Both my parents run and own a culinary school in Houston. It's called the Culinary Institute La Notre. Culinary school forces you to stand up all day and cut onions and potatoes, but I wasn't interested in that. I was interested in behind it all. Why are we even eating at all? Or why are we even standing up at all? Why are we breathing at all? And that's why I started to do philosophy.
My dad is a drywall contractor. He spent his career building a business in Central Florida, and eventually it became successful, but it was a lot of backbreaking work, especially at the beginning of his career, lifting drywall and organizing jobs, dealing with people in the contracting world. He would take us to work and show us what he did, and he would often say, "I hope that you do whatever you want to do, and I don't necessarily recommend that you do what I do." This always left an impression on me, and I didn't like drywall very much, and so I decided I was going to do something different, and I was encouraged to pursue what was interesting to me, and eventually when I decided I was going to go to college and study English, I felt very confident that I would be supported in that.
My father worked for Housing and Urban Development here in DC as a manager of software teams, and so a lot of what he did helped a lot of people in the DC area and throughout the country. But being a scientist, he was also very rational, logical, and relied a lot on proofs, deduction, that kind of thing to come to his conclusions. My mother raised me within the church, and so I grew up with a love for the Bible, a love for theology, and those types of things. And so now in my own research, I kind of combine the two. As a biblical scholar, I'm able to use the biblical knowledge and love of theology and all that my mother gave me with the reasoning and proofs and rational thinking that my dad used on a daily basis.
My mother is a retired English teacher. She taught middle school English, grammar, and literature for I think 33 years before she retired. And I'm a student at Catholic University studying playwriting. So I definitely sort of followed in her footsteps in something a little bit more specific, creative writing. And I definitely take that from, she encouraged me to read and write and express myself when I was little. And that's definitely becoming a big part of my studies.
My father was a radiologist, and from a very early age I decided I did not want to study medicine, even though it probably would have been pretty easy for me to do that. So I went into philosophy, which seems on the one hand very far away from medicine, but at the same time it's in a way very similar, because with medicine you're trying to uncover what it is about human beings that make them tick with respect to their body. And I feel like in philosophy you do that in a similar way, but with respect to their soul, with respect to their mind and their spirit. So that's sort of how my father in a way influenced and did not influence me.
My mom's a middle school teacher, and my dad does graphic design work. And I'm a graduate student in political science, and I want to be a teacher too. There was never really a point where I wanted to teach high school or middle school like my mom, but I think that her emphasis on the importance of education really did influence what I wanted to do.
My parents, well, I come from a big and divided family, so I have more than just two parents. My dad is a lobbyist, as is my stepmother. My mother is an education consultant, and my stepfather is a private consultant and a private investor. The fact that my parents all had professional lives and continued with their education certainly made it easier for me to follow that path. But really the way that I was influenced and the direction I took had to do with who I discovered I was myself on my own. And I discovered what I loved and what I was interested in, and that's the direction I went.
When I was growing up, my dad owned a photo processing business, and my mom was a stay-at-home mom. And I like to think that my sense of humor is a combination of the senses of humor of each of them. My dad is really gregarious, and he kind of has the life of the party sense of humor, and he likes to tell stories that make everyone laugh. And I think that helped him in business. He showed me how to get along with lots of different kinds of people and appreciate them and try to make them feel at ease through humor and probably through listening to them too. And then my mom had more of the kind of sense of humor that you had to think about for a few minutes and then it cracked you up. Also, my mom has a lot of attention to detail and thinks a lot about gifts she gives people and does a lot of things intricately to make those gifts happen. So I think there's some combination of knowing how to appreciate different kinds of people and attention to detail and thinking about, big picture and philosophy and education.
My dad works in the Office of the Secretary of Defense for Acquisition Policy, and he gives me a window into the federal civil service world, which is where I want to take my life after college. And my mom is the manager at the Central Library in Howard County, and she self-identifies herself as an instrument of change, which inspires me to positively affect every situation that I encounter.
Between my finger and my thumb, the squat pen rests, snug as a gun. Under my window, a clean rasping sound when the spade sinks into gravelly ground. My father digging. I look down till his straining rump among the flower beds bends low, comes up 20 years away, stooping in rhythm through potato drills where he was digging. The coarse boot nestled on the lug. The shaft against the inside knee was levered firmly. He rooted out tall tops, buried the bright edge deep to scatter new potatoes that we picked, loving their cool hardness in our hands. By God, the old man could handle a spade, just like his old man. My grandfather cut more turf in a day than any other man on Toner's Bog. Once I carried him milk in a bottle, corked sloppily with paper. He straightened up to drink it, then fell to right away, nicking and slicing neatly, heaving sods over his shoulder, going down and down for the good turf, digging. The cold smell of potato mould, the squelch and slap of soggy peat, the curt cuts of an edge through living roots awaken in my head. But I've no spade to follow men like them. Between my finger and my thumb, the squat pen rests. I'll dig with it.